Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. So Souleymane Cissokho moves to 17 wins with 9 KOs, no defeats, no draws. He defeats Mexico's ISAIAS Lucero on a unanimous decision. I had this 117-110, which was the same as one of the judges. The other two judges had it a bit wider, I think a point or two wider. But there's no doubt who won, and that was Cissokho. Now, Cissokho, a couple of Olympics ago, he was a bronze medalist, and much was expected of him. He's 32 now. He's a Senegalese fighter from resides in France, but he hasn't really made the strides a lot of people had hoped for. And if you think back to 2021, he fought Kieran Conway and won a split decision, but he was on the floor in the 9th round. And Conway, I think, is 20-3 at the moment, but of his 20 wins, only 5 are KO. So Conway's a light puncher, and the question mark does seem to be over Cissokho's jaw. Well, in the first round, the unheralded Mexican ISAIAS Lucero came out and actually shook Cissokho very early on, and it wasn't as if his legs were rubber, but Cissokho was moving. He was getting out of the way. Lucero, who I think this was his first time out of Mexico, you'd think he'd been fighting on the road all his life. He came in with 16 wins, 1 defeat, which was a points loss, and he's got 10 KO or TKO victories. His defeat actually was his last fight against Chester Parada Terrales over in Mexico, who was only 9-3, and he lost a split decision over 10. And this fight was scheduled for 12 rounds. So you thought, well, Cissokho, if he can stick to his boxing, he can outpoint this guy pretty easily. Even if the guy's got that typical Mexican toughness, that typical steel jaw that all the Mexicans seem to have. But the first 5 rounds was a little bit precarious for Cissokho because he was shaken in the first round. But in the second round, he actually floored Lucero quite heavily in, I want to say mid-round, I might be wrong about that. But I think it was overhand right that got him. And Lucero looked shaken. He did get up. He was okay. He got up. He took the 8 count, got up. But yeah, no doubt, definitely the round to Cissokho. I mean, it wasn't just the knockdown. It was not like he was being beaten up and scored the knockdown. He actually won that round 10-8 legitimately. And then it was sort of nip and tuck for about the next couple of rounds, say the 5th round, maybe up to the 5th round. There was also a cut over the left eye of Lucero. So Cissokho's boxing, although he had by far the lighter hands, or so it seemed, was having effect. The accuracy was getting to Lucero, and Lucero was firing heavy thudding punches, but probably wasn't landing enough at the same time as Cissokho. His punches were light. It's a lot of these rounds were swing rounds, these early rounds. But in the second half of the fight, there was only one winner, and that's because Cissokho stuck to his boxing, just, pop, pop, pop with a jab. Did fire, combinations as well, hanging a few crosses and hooks off the jab. Quite busy, he's quite a busy fighter. But Lucero noticeably slowed down, didn't seem to appear to have much imagination or many ideas of how to get through Cissokho's attack, control the range. Cissokho was the one controlling the range for the most part. And so Cissokho ran out unanimous winner. But, Cissokho's 32 now. He's got to get his skates on. This is the welterweight division. So when Bud Crawford, moves up or retires or whatever, those belts are going to go up in the air. And Cissokho wants to position himself to the point where he's fighting for a vacant title. As for Lucero, I mean, he's 27. He's 5 years younger. He can come back. He showed something. I mean, this is the type of fight he'll look back on and probably wish he'd done X, Y, Z, but you can learn from it. But for Cissokho, I think it's now or never. He's been a pro for about 7 years. Time to start showing a bit. And this wasn't a bad win. It wasn't a bad win over a decent tough opponent. So yeah, if you've got any comments, leave them below. What do you think of this fight? It was on DAZN. It was on the undercard of Cordina Vasquez over in Monte Carlo, and not a thrilling fight, but reasonable, and the right guy won. There was no silliness with the judges' cards. Comments below then. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you could hit the like button as well. Spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing. I always appreciate you watching these videos. Love making them. And I'll catch you later. And bye for now.